Hello YouTube friends, Ben Ochart. Thank you for tuning in today. And after my last video where I broke down the sump underneath the tank behind me here, I had some of you ask questions about whether a sump was right for you. And so I thought I'd go ahead and just give you my 2 cents on it. And this is just my opinion about it. And I'm sure others out there have different opinions, and I certainly would like to hear them in the comments below. So be sure to let me know below what you think about this. But in my mind, unless you have a tank that's well over 70 gallons, probably even over 100 gallons, you shouldn't really consider a sump. A sump is designed really for a larger tank in my estimation. Not that it would hurt. You could put a sump on a 60 and it wouldn't hurt. It actually would help quite a bit, but it's a bit of an overkill for what you're trying to actually filter. So in my estimation, I mean, if you have a tank upwards of 100, and whether that tank is drilled or not, you should consider a sump. And by drilled, for those of you that don't know what I mean, it means that the tank would have holes in it that you could put the plumbing in to get the water from the tank into the sump, and then of course from the sump back to the tank. So the advantages of a sump, the number one and biggest advantage in my mind is that you have added water volume. Just by adding more water volume, you're going to dilute, you're going to reduce parts per million of those things that are dangerous to your fish. Ammonia, nitrite, right, in particular. And so it's going to actually spread that out over more water volume. This is a 150 gallon tank behind me, which actually is operating like 180, 190 because of the amount of water volume added by the sump. That extra water volume is watering down any potential spike in ammonia, nitrite, things of this nature, and nitrates. So that's a very, very good thing, and that would be a good thing in any size aquarium, really. The other advantage, flexibility. And fast flexibility. By that what I mean is you can reach in and pull out and put in and take out very, very quickly. It takes you seconds. And you can put different kinds of things in there because you have a lot of room. I put what is called a Brightwell NO3 block, a large block that is supposed to provide beneficial bacteria with a lot of room, but also has a product called sulfur in it, a type of sulfur that it's doped with that is supposed to help reduce nitrates. Putting a block like that in something like a canister just wouldn't be practical. So flexibility, added water volume, massive amounts of media, whether that media is high-end, your marine pures, your biohomes, your matrixes, or even lots of pot scrubbers, or just sponges. Whatever it is you're going with, you can put a lot of it in a sump. And so as your stock numbers increase, you can keep adding additional media to populate with more beneficial bacteria and not really worry one bit about running out of room because you have so much of it. You don't need to go out and buy another filter, another canister, or whatever. So those are huge plus points. And there are also lots of myths about sumps, that they flood and this and that. Check out my sump playlist. I show you how a complete pump failure and also a complete blockage of the overflow box in this tank did not result in a flood. It took the water level to the top and also filled the sump up, but within a few inches of the top. If it's correctly dialed in, you don't have to worry about the sump flooding your house, except for things that can happen in any system, such as seams that break or leak, cracks, things of this nature, things that can happen in any kind of filtration system, any kind of tank. So sumps by far are the superior filtration for those reasons I've given you. However, a canister has a role in the hobby. First one being, it's very quiet. A canister doesn't make really a lot of noise. If it's dialed in correctly, filled up right, the baskets are seated correctly, and you don't have the outputs above the water level, or you're not using necessarily a spray bar, you're going to have a very quiet running system. It's not going to be creating a lot of noise. A sump can have noise because you have water cascading down along a long series of pipes or hoses, and then being pumped up a long distance, and then so it's quieter. It can be quieter than a sump. So that's one advantage. Also, a canister, can, in some cases can run for a very long time. I mean, sumps can run for a very long time too. But if I had to pick, I would say anything below 75 gallons, I would consider seriously canister, hang on back, and even sponges. But canister would be definitely a top choice. Hang on backs, I love hang on backs. The way they break up the surface tension of the water, that oxygenates a lot. For that reason, I like them a lot. They also can be pretty roomy for media, but nowhere near as much media, whether again sponges or whatever, that you can get into a canister. But then a canister is nowhere near as much as a sump. So in order of preference, I think sump by far number one, in tanks over 100 gallons. Below 100 gallons, I would go canister, with a very close second being a hang on back, maybe even because I really like them both the same. And you can't forget sponge filters. Sponge filters, for what they do, if you don't mind the way they look, for what they do, they're great. They actually can be a great home for beneficial bacteria. They're inexpensive to run. And if you have a couple extra ones in the tank, they can seed an emergency tank very, very quickly. So that's my take. Should you get a sump? If you have a tank over 100 gallons, consider it. Don't want to drill the tank? Look into what's called an overflow box. An overflow box can actually hang on the back like a hang-on back filter, except instead of circulating within the box itself, it has a hose that goes down to the down to the sump, and then a pump pumps the water back, just as if you were drilled, except it's operating off of a siphon. Okay, so that's my take on that. I hope I haven't confused you further. If you have any questions, go ahead and list them below, and certainly comment, rate, share, and hit that bell so you get notifications. I do appreciate you stopping by. You know that, right? Come by on Saturday for a live stream. Love to have you there. I get to answer your questions live, and we take up some interesting subjects. And stop by the Facebook group, ben.o.cichlid. Great group. Be sure to answer all 3 questions, or the admins don't let you in. And because the group is troll-free. We keep it troll-free, it's friendly, and it's open to all fish keepers, regardless of the name Cichlid. And follow on Instagram, ben.o.cichlid. Thank you for tuning in. You are appreciated. That's it for me. Bye-bye. Wait, one point I forgot to mention. If you need fish supplies, and I'm talking about pumps and airlines and food and anything else, check out Super Cichlids. Lisa and her family over in Dover, and great prices, very competitive prices, and free shipping. So great business over there. I love to support a family-owned business. They've just made some large investments into a big store, so let's help them out. And free shipping, you can't beat that, especially when the prices are competitive, and they have a wide range of products, and even more than I even thought when I started going through their webpage. So check them out. Super Cichlids, great group, great family, and I always like to support that type of a business.